And we're back for another Keene No Spin. I'm Randy Filiault.
I'm Chris Coates, and this is Cisco Coates. This is right, buddy, and he's visiting today. He's 15 weeks old, and he was
Just
with
barely
me.
can see him.
He was with me, and so we decided to bring him over, and just get his first FaceTime on the camera. So
There you go. You're a celebrity now.
so what's new? What's happening?
Well, I did a few notes on here.
And we are going to be short today in the program because I'm running late.
A little over half an hour show today because Chris, well, you have a job. I have Wednesdays off, so Wednesdays are easy for me, but
Right.
not you. Anyhow, I'll just start off to say that, yes, I am sore today. I've been packing, I'm moving. I'm sorry to say it'll still be in Keene for some of you that were probably hoping otherwise, but just moving out of downtown, been downtown for 5 years, and it's time to go try something else. So I'm going to go try something else.
Are you moved?
Partially.
Okay.
Be done by this weekend. Out near the
You're
Y.
moving out because there's an opportunity that came up?
Yeah, yeah. Been looking for actually, a couple of years for the right condo, and it wasn't in a real hurry, not a real push or anything, but the one became available and we jumped on it. So for all those people that think moving is not fun, you are correct. Not having. I'm looking forward to being done, but I'm not looking forward to this whole moving process because I've had to do some painting, which I hate painting, and I still get paint all over me here.
Yeah.
And B, I'm lifting things that I don't think I should be lifting. The hardest thing.
You're
I think,
old too.
Well, it's getting kind of hard to argue that. That it's like, well, the hardest thing to move is mattresses because we have a big, heavy mattress, and oh my God. But anyhow, I'm sure there's not a lot of sympathy out there for me. So that's what I've been doing out, in between working and doing city council meetings is moving.
So
and yourself?
I'm just taking care of a puppy.
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
Full
time.
and doing work. That's my life. Not much outside of that. So I'm going to dive in a different direction.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
City council.
Yep.
Okay. We're going in. Do we know where the mayor stands on re-election?
Nope.
We don't.
I unofficially, I had heard that he's not going to run, but there hasn't been anything made official on that yet. So, we used to remember when Mike Blastos was mayor, and he would say he wasn't running again unless there was a overwhelming support for him to do it again.
The quiet majority.
Yeah, sure enough.
Not a quiet minority. The quiet majority.
A few people
was his famous
at
words.
breakfast at the pub would say, "Hey, Mike, you got to run again." So you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So don't know. I guess.
Good mayor though.
Guess
Good mayor.
Mike was funny.
I had the opportunity to work with great mayors all along when I was on the council.
Yeah.
So it was a joy.
Yeah. Mike was good because he never held a grudge. You could go right at it with him. Then at the end of the meeting,
part
he'd
of
be
business.
He'd be like, "Yeah, you come and see you at the pub for breakfast in the morning." It's like, why are you going to poison me?
Even Pat Russell could be very intense.
Oh yeah, Pat.
But she was afterwards. It was like, let's move on.
Yep.
So, but all right. So the mayor, we don't know. This would be his 5th term if he seeked it, right? Yeah. It would be. It would be when he finished. He'd have 10 years on as mayor if he won. Okay, so out there, rumor names that are floating out there right now are Mitch Greenwald and George Hansel is somebody every time I turn around I see a photo. So I'm guessing I believe those are the two that are
floating the opportunity,
sort of waiting to see, and I'm guessing one or both of them know if the mayor's running or not. But I don't know if that's true. But because I wouldn't see them doing as much as they're doing if they thought the mayor was running.
Yeah.
So it should be an interesting conversation. You've got.
It's going to come up quick.
You've got to me you've got two individuals. One who is George was raised here. I don't believe he went to school here, but he was raised here. And then you have Mitch, who came here to Keene State College.
1970, I think.
And married his beautiful wife here, and then started multiple businesses here.
Yeah.
And so he's been here for at least 40 some odd years.
Yeah.
And so
50 now.
Yeah. So
I guess
so
I am getting
majority,
old. Damn.
majority of his life, he's been here too.
Yeah.
So you've got two different individuals.
We'll have to get him on here.
And there may be
if they
others.
announce.
There's, I mean, your name's always floated out there.
Yeah.
My name's always
Not
floated
happening.
out there. Not happening.
No.
And then there's Terry Clark and some other people that have in the past been interested in this. So, whether we like it or not, it's right around the corner, and it really depends on what the mayor's going to do or not do.
Yep. Geez, yeah. April, May, June, July, August. Wow, the primaries. Wow, that's coming up fast.
And the other thing that comes into play, I think, is even though it's a nonpartisan race, you have to be silly not to think that both parties are excited by the candidates to come forward, and some and some in the parties, because one is a Republican, one's a Democrat, and normally they don't. It's a nonpartisan; they don't get involved with it. Mm-hmm. But I can't believe that that the Republican Party wouldn't be excited about having George for their person, and I got to believe the same goes for the Dems and Mitch, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if that gets more people excited about getting out in a city election, which is a good thing, but then you get partisan politics in it, so that's the negative to it. And to be honest with you, I had an opportunity to talk to the governor the other day when he was here. I wasn't at Odalay's, but he went to the Lions Club.
Right.
And I told him, I said, to be honest, when I look at how I have to do my business in my position, it's not Republican, it's not Democrat. I work well with either. It's not like when I look at the state and the state says we balanced our budget, it can be Republican controlled, it can be Democratic controlled. I always say to myself, what does that mean to us? What is it that's cost shifted down to us if it is?
Right.
And so I brought up some issues and concerns within the governor's budget, and he actually said that he'd have the budget director the governor's budget director give me a call so that we can make him aware of some concerns that we're having, because if some of the budget numbers that are in place currently percentage-wise stay in, the county would be hit with about a $650,000, $700,000 number possibly if it doesn't change. Now, I know there's a process. The governor puts his budget in, the House, Senate, they come back, they come up with their own budget, they agree to it, they send it to him, and he either signs it or vetoes it, and then we start over or we move forward. I get all that, but I want to make sure that the governor understood. And I will say this, he's an engaging individual. Bill Beauregard at the Lions Club did the introduction. He was spot on. That he's an engaging individual, and I've had opportunities where I sat with him one-on-one with him and the governor, and what I like about him is he's willing to listen. He'll ask you, what is it though really, Chris, that you think about this? And I appreciate that in any political person. When they take the time, whether we agree to disagree, they're willing to listen. And that's something that I learned a long time ago, because I remember when third year I was in my position, there was an election and two Republicans came on as the commissioners. And the Sentinel wrote an article about, it's with Coates, the Democrat, and two Republicans. It's not ever about that. When you're dealing locally, it is never about Republican, Democrat. And that's my only concern about the city election is that it may be a good thing because it gets people generated in both parties to get out in usually a low turnout election, but also where is that a path or a hill that we start rolling down that is not a good thing in the long run. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just an interesting part of who the two candidates that I've announced so far.
Well, back when I made my one run for mayor, when was it, 2008, something like that? It was a while ago.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that turned out to be a fairly partisan election. In the end, it was Dale Pregent, who was a staunch Democrat, and Bill Beauregard, who was a very staunch Republican.
Right.
And the national parties got involved with that. And there was a lot of complaints about that, about the glossy flyers that were coming out. And that was the year that I ran, and you pointed out to me when I was running that if I could survive the primary, I'd be in good shape, but surviving the primary was going to be tough because I'm one of those middle-of-the-road guys.
Right.
Some Republicans think I'm too far to the left, and some Democrats think I'm too far to the right, and I was caught in the middle, and
Yeah.
23 votes separated me from getting into the
Right.
the final two. And I think that was the last time I remember the mayoral race being clearly partisan. Now, whether both candidates, wanted it, whether you wanted it or not, both parties got involved. And I think you're right, Chris. I think you're going to, like it or not, if these two wind up being the candidates, the primary candidates, I think you're probably going to see those glossy mailers coming out again.
I hope not. I hope that people try to just tell their story and their vision for the city. That's it. I see both individuals as sincere individuals who care about the city. I see them both bringing certain opportunities with them, because of their life experience or their youth and their vision that way too. So it's either way.
Yep.
But
I remember when it's funny because I think it was 70. Remember when Mitch came into town and him and his wife, Ricky, opened up a little store above the Colonial Theater called the Top Shop. It's just down the end of it never survived today.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be, forefront on Main Street today. But they ground their way through. So I appreciate that when somebody, and I've owned a small business. It's not easy.
yeah,
And so no, it's good. It's going to be interesting. It's going to come up fast.
right.
And of course, we don't know if other names might come out too.
Yeah.
Like you said, we don't even know if Kendall's might
Right.
all of a sudden, you know what, I've decided to run again. It could happen.
Right, because he's been a very, very good mayor.
Yep.
He's led us through some changing of the guard and some other issues that we had to walk through. The whole crisis of the Pumpkin Fest. I mean, that's how long he's been mayor. So, I mean, he should be applauded for the work that he's done. But I hope that Kendall, one way or the other, makes his decision sooner than later. And I'm going to reach out to him to see if that's just so that the other people that are wanting to get involved, and there may be somebody on the outside that we don't even think about, which is even more interesting. Is there somebody
Sitting back?
that is like not on city council, just a citizen who, if they got into it, it'd be an interesting mix too?
I would say this for somebody running it, at least have some kind of experience, either with city council or a school board or something where you know the process of rules of order. Because especially a counselor, you can come in with no experience at all and kind of learn as you go because you get 14 other counselors to kind of lean on, or the mayor, you're up there by yourself, and have some kind of a knowledge of rules of order and how things go, because if you don't, you'll get eaten alive by the council.
Right.
You're the moderator. You're kind of the one in charge of the council. I'd recommend if somebody runs for mayor and you have no political experience whatsoever, at least run for council or something first.
Yeah.
Don't get up there and the lights come on and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. How many, what?
I think we kind of see that in Washington. You put a president in there with no political experience, and we've seen, in my opinion, what a disaster that's been.
I'm not even touching it. It's just like I am
It's so bad.
I am so like. Well, somebody asked me the other day this whole thing with Mueller probe and the coming to an end, and they said it was a witch hunt. It's like, so 34 people indicted, or
six in prison.
Six in prison, and for whatever reason, I don't care what the reason is. I mean, that's a problem in itself. But more importantly, I feel like we're at an intermission of a 2-act play.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what New York's going to do, but they took a lot of information.
Oh yeah, no.
This
party is not over.
And they can, and their ability to go after certain things in a whole different light is clear. I mean, isn't Manafort going there next?
Yep.
And so I don't pretend to understand any of it. I'm just tired. I'm tired.
The whole country is.
I'm tired. This is the things that
whole
tire me
country's
out.
tired.
Is why you started me on this road, so you have to now live with it.
Okay.
But like McCain, Senator McCain.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not, respect what he did for this country.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, for somebody that never, like Trump, that never served a day in the military. As a matter of fact, made every effort that he could to avoid serving in the military.
Yeah.
And and to have the audacity to say something negative about
Yeah.
an American hero who served as a POW,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
So
Hey, where's our engineer out there?
I think my dog.
I was like, hey,
I think my dog.
I'm out here too.
Hopefully my dog didn't start going to the bathroom out there.
You trained that dog. Leave the camera on
He's
Chris.
probably doing this. No,
He's
back to
doing the
Chris.
camera.
No, back to Chris.
Yeah, so I know with yeah, but you're right. For a lot of people either side thinking, okay, that's our. First of all, the whole Mueller report hasn't been released yet, and who knows if it will be, because they are saying, the collusion thing. Maybe Mueller's right. He's not saying you're innocent. He's just saying, at least from what I'm hearing, they didn't think there'd be enough to prosecute him. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. I don't know. I haven't read the report.
Well, but he didn't.
But they say obstruction of justice. Mueller even said, no, you're not.
Well, his wasn't. His is to present.
Right.
His isn't to.
No.
Right,
He gives it to the attorney general to make
the only
the
thing
decision.
I'll always wonder, and there's many smart people smarter than I is, why he didn't really push for an interview, and instead of just a written response. But it's neither here or there.
Nope,
I feel like
it's over. Kinda.
I'm just
Well, that part's
tired. I'm
over.
tired of the constant email hate,
Yeah.
texting hate that goes on, and it's like I'm tired that I just. You know what I do now? I come home and try to find something that makes me smile. I don't watch the news anymore. I haven't for a few months. And I love David Mueller.
Netflix.
But I come home and I just say, I don't need it. I don't need. I can get it on my phone anytime I want. It goes ping, and there it is.
It blows up in front of you.
So
No,
it's just I don't know how other people are doing it. And I'd love to hear. People tell me about it, but I just how do you? You're just barraged all the time. And I don't blame the president 100% for this. I mean, he creates a lot of it because I think he chooses to. But the media today, whether you're Fox News or whether you're MSNBC or CNN or whoever, they have to create all the time. And I also think that this whole case out in Chicago with Jesse Smollett, is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's crazy.
16 indictments to risk. I don't get it. I don't know if I don't know if somebody with less money and less fame did that, would they do the same thing? Do we have a court system that treats certain people differently than other people?
Well, let's look at what went on with all the colleges and people bribing their way in. Let's face it, money, baby.
Wasn't it?
Money.
What is it?
We don't have to worry about it.
Doc, is it Doc? What is it? Dr. Dre? Is that what it is? Said that his daughter got in on his own. What he forgot to say is the school she got into, and she may have got into it on her own, but the school she got into was USC, which had all the problems, and he and another person gave up to $70 million to create this department, theater, films, and stuff like that. $70 million. So, and it's like, but the thing is that whole thing, isn't that one of those situations where that's been going on forever? Legacy. Giving, you name a building, you know what? Every kid is going to go there afterwards in your family that's related to you. Kind of, that's been going on for years.
It wasn't. It's wrong, but I mean, is it a total shock?
Yeah.
If a family gives a few $1 million to a college, they're probably going to waive a couple things.
Yeah, we actually hired somebody for my daughter because we didn't know the process, and it was Don Parker here in Keene, good guy who had missions director for many schools in the region.
You probably saved a few million too.
And so he really worked with my daughter to really get to know who she was, so that when they applied for the certain schools that he thought matched up well. Mm-hmm. And she ended up, we ended up going to 8 or 9 schools to look at. And at the end of the day, she picked the right school was there for her to fit into. And she had 4 great years and has done well since leaving school. So, it is worthwhile, but not that we did anything more than have somebody help, really, put together what she was looking for so she had a better idea.
Kind of point in the right direction, not write a check in the right direction.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Speaking of going back a little bit, talking about Sununu,
Governor Sununu.
Governor Sununu, he is an amicable person, and I think that's one of the reasons he get reelected. People find him amicable.
Yeah.
You know, I'm finding him, my opinion, I'm finding him drifting a little farther to the right than I'm comfortable with. I think he's latching right into the Trump. You know, he's not. I would like to see our governor, especially look at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, which has the potential to lose millions because of Trump's wall, where he might yank some money, you know, out of military funding. And our congressional delegation has come out and firmly and strongly opposed that. Sununu hasn't said anything, you know, because he's kind of kowtowing to Trump. That concerns me. If you're governor, you're, in my opinion, you're all over that. You're like, no, that won't stand.
Yeah.
You know, silence is not an option in that particular thing. You need a governor to stand right up to the president and say, you know, I will fight this tooth and nail.
Yeah.
So,
Well, one of the things yesterday in hearing him speak, he's talking a lot about having the highest employment rate of any governor, you know, that, you know, people are coming back to work, businesses are coming into the state. He is, you know, that may be factually right. But when you're talking to the western corner of the state, we're seeing something different here. We are the fastest graying county in the state. We have the second highest poverty rate in the state of New Hampshire. You know, our economic numbers are not too different from Coos County or Sullivan County. We've got some problems. The difference between us and a county like Coos County is Coos County had one major industry up there. Really, they had other things, but they had one major, the wood industry, and it sort of collapsed.
right.
So you could clearly see that it collapsed. Here, what we've had over time is an erosion, slow erosion of things.
Yes.
So it's not as noticeable, but what people need to see over here is we're having some problems. You know, the question was asked by somebody in the audience yesterday about unemployment and about workforce, and he went to that we have a lower, in Cheshire County, we have a lower unemployment rate than Massachusetts. And he's correct, we do. But that's not a good thing when it's that low. And a lot of that's because it's graying and it's not being refilled with people, young people.
Right.
So we don't have enough workforce over here.
And a lot of people are underemployed,
so
too.
I want
They're not unemployed, they're underemployed.
But I want a strategy for here. You know, the state of New Hampshire is coming up with an economic development plan, 10-year plan. Most states have this, but New Hampshire hasn't had it, but they're getting something. And I'm looking forward to it so that we can actually take that and really start developing a vision for this area as a whole. You know, and not just the county, but, you know, others involved. And so it's concerning, but we'll, you know, and again, engaging individual. So,
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
You know, there's more to being a governor than personality, and, you know, for him, and the name. Let's face it, if his last name wasn't Sununu, he wouldn't be governor. He's governor, in my opinion, because Dad was governor and chief of staff and well-known. I mean, that's a big name recognition.
Oh, I
family.
don't disagree.
Well,
but
good.
Like,
Just leave it at that.
But like with any situation, you have the ability to take what's been given to you and build on it.
Oh, true.
And that will be the legacy. He has a name, but you know, I look at some friends around here that have had businesses that were handed to them.
Yep.
And I've seen some incredible things happen with the business that they were handed and the growth. I look at somebody like Chris Masiello, that, you know, he took on the family business,
Right.
and he's grown it in ways. There's probably many people that have supported him to do that, but he took it to, you know, took it from his father, Jim, former mayor.
Yep.
And it's just phenomenal what he's done. And there's other people I see like that all the time. That, you know, well, Mitch is a good example of that. Mitch is somebody that started something here, you know.
Yeah.
Mitch was struggling like anybody else.
Yep.
You know, and his wife was able to become a teacher here, and that they gave him a base. But they had multiple different jobs, you know, companies.
And now his son Josh is taking over the realty business.
Slowly but surely,
Yes,
they're evolving that too. So I just think it's. You know, there's a lot of those stories out there. A lot of people that have done some amazing things that they do it. You don't see them constantly out there saying what they've done. They just do it. You know.
No, absolutely. Mitch has accomplished a lot.
Well, Mitch, but again, there's
A lot of people.
a lot of people
A lot
that
of people
that have done it. The Odelay guy that was, and I can't think of his name.
Sheehan?
And Sheehan Ash.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that just started one business and now it's evolved into a second business. Good for him. Good for him. These are exciting stories. Somebody like Brandy Roof, who has started the Emporium on where the apothecary used to be.
Yep.
Soul Emporium, right? And that's exciting to me. First of all, younger, and then second, that they took the initiative and are building something and for themselves too. You've got that all around. I mean, you've got the stage restaurant, you've got Lucas, you've got things that people took the risk to start to develop and go.
Yep.
Hey, what's up with Faux? And they open one day and not open the next day, kind of thing.
I went by today. They had a closed sign. Will open late. I don't know. It's
good for them.
I don't know.
I guess. Yeah, good.
They certainly got some free. They certainly got some free publicity before they could open. When I had my business, the one thing that'll cause a business to fail, especially the hospitality business, is when you have inconsistent hours.
Yeah.
Back in my bar business days, we were open till 1 a.m. and whether I was there or not, I'd tell my employees, it didn't matter what the weather was. You're not closing early. Even if we get down to a skeleton crew. You always want to have a business, or especially like I said, the hospitality business. People know you're open.
Yeah.
And it was, maybe a decade or two ago, KFC, which was Kentucky Fried Chicken, almost went completely out of business because they let their managers have the option of closing early if it was slow. Mm-hmm. Well, you got a 21-year-old manager who goes, "Yep, slow, we're out of here." Friday night.
It's 6:30. Slow. And we only have 30 people in line. Usually we have 40.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I've seen their hours seem to be pretty inconsistent. That can be the kiss of death for a hospitality business. So just a word to the wise, it's better to be open than closed.
And so the other one is Burger King's coming in. I saw it in the paper. I saw your tweet and everything. And so Burger King, the Whopper, it's almost here. Whopper with cheese.
It's funny because you and I have talked about it. With everything that goes on in Keene, people that talk to me on the street, stop your grocery shopping, you know how that is. It's always, "Hey, counselor." I said, "Yeah, when's Burger King opening?" It's like, $65 million budget you're talking about. It's, "Hey, when's Burger King opening?" So soon, spring, it's going to be here. You get your drive-through.
Yeah.
And that's one of the arguments, talking about things going on in Keene, going back to my whole food truck thing, which I'm still beating on that ordinance there, trying to get them unlimited hours.
Now it's been reconsidered.
Yeah, it's actually, as we're talking right now, it gets discussed tonight at committee, and we get to discuss it tonight. I get some counselors.
Are you looking for 24/7 or expansion from 11 to 1?
No, I'm looking at 24/7. If you want to be open, you can be open.
In certain zones?
Yeah, it's going to be, it's like anything. I want to make an analogy there. It's kind of like Burger King. We just talked about how they're opening. But they couldn't open until they met all the criteria with the planning department, zoning. You have to be in the right spot.
Yeah.
And then we don't tell them what hours they can be open. They're probably going to be open 24/7. They'll have the drive-through going. And my argument is, so once we determine where food trucks are going to be, and that's an ordinance that's being discussed right now, where can you be at night, because we don't want you in residential neighborhoods any more than a Burger King is going to be in a residential neighborhood. So why are we telling them they got to have set hours?
Is the city working with the college to see if that they could actually, for late night, have some food trucks on like the Appian Way area?
Actually, I'll find out more about that tonight, because the city manager has been discussing with a lot of people in the city about this. And and I agree. You don't want them in residential neighborhoods late at night. But then again, if you're a food truck owner, why would you be?
No, but my thing would be, and I've said this from the get-go, I've said it at least a month and a half ago, is that if you're the whole food truck thing, if the audience is those coming out of the bars, and usually that's 65, or let's say 75% of those are college kids walking back. So if you, I'm
trying to think back. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, and so if that's the case, and if you could actually allow the food trucks to be there from this time to this time, well, that's great for a lot of reasons. One, you got a lot of kids that may have alcohol in their system. Now they're going to get some food in their system.
Yep.
2, you got hungry kids that are looking for something late night, and this would be good, and it's quality food. And then 3 would be, if they get loud, there's a security force already there to take care of them, and if they need backup, they can call Keene. But they have the, and it's a controlled atmosphere in that it's in the confines there. I like that idea. Now, there might be another opportunity for other places, but I like, if that could happen, that would be great.
No, it absolutely would. And, right now we've got it set on the temporary restrictions that there's a couple of places on Gilboa Ave they can park, which, would be another good spot, late night, especially maybe before midnight. A lot of the shows at the Colonial let out, and some of the restaurants and bars kind of start winding down at 11 p.m. Then you have that second tier that go right to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
All those are good ideas. But my whole point is these are all great ideas, so why restrict them?
Yeah.
Let them set the hours that they want to work. If they want to go out at 5 in the morning and sell a breakfast sandwich, let them. Don't make them come back before the council and have to grovel and beg for extended hours.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's, in my opinion, that's none of our business. The only time it becomes our business is if there's a problem with one of them. Then we hear about it, but usually that'll have to be handled by city staff. You lose a license or whatever.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned last week, I said we're actually creating a problem when we don't have a problem. By having limited hours, we're kind of saying we have a problem, and we don't.
Yeah.
We're saying, there will be a problem. It's like, if there's not a problem, then there's not a problem.
Right.
But it's going to be a close vote. Like I said, there's some that have just dug in and just. I think sometimes people make votes and then just don't want to go back on the vote.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping I can get it. I know I've got one that's definitely going to vote the other way, but it's going to be a close vote either way. And I guess I'm kind of baffled in a way because I've been doing council for a long time. This is one of these votes that I'm like, and I've asked them why. Why are you digging in? And it's more of just because. You've been doing politics for a long time, and sometimes you see that and you just shake your head. You're like, but you're not making sense, and it's kind of like.
Well, it's last night was my first board meeting, and we had a.
That's right. Congrats! Congrats on your overwhelming election back onto the school board.
Yeah, I think somebody
you ran against yourself.
I ran against myself, and I think there was like 100 and some odd people that didn't vote for me. And I turned to my wife and said, "Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Have you found them there? Have you tracked those names down yet?"
And she's like, "So you got at least 80% of the vote. Isn't that enough?" No. I want to know why you don't like me.
I want to know
what did I do? But it doesn't either. Well, it was nice.
Like riding the bike?
It's nice I stepped
right
away.
on?
Well, it was sort of. But it's also nice that I don't want to be anything more than just sitting back and just being a member.
Just a member.
I don't have to be in leadership. I don't have to do anything. Just let me sit there and listen to the conversation. And last night I was listening to some of it, and I thought to myself, this is just too simple. Why are we beating this up so much? Yeah. It's just, and sometimes you're right. Sometimes it's like it's right there in front of you. But I'm happy I'm back because I like I said, I took some time away, and it gives you a perspective. So you come back a little different. Because when you're there for a long period of time, I was there for 9 years. You sort of get enmeshed in it, and you lose the focus. So stepping away for 3-4 years, and then coming back on, I'm excited. So
because I was on council for just under 16 years, my first go around.
And then
16 years.
Left.
Then I was out for like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And you're right. Then I came back and said,
you'll come back a little bit more relaxed because things you think that's too much to worry about. I'm not worrying about that.
There's a different. I've been back on for 6 years now. Second time around, it's like I'm still in my 30s. Trust me. It is different though. When I came back, good council. Very ethical, honest council. Disagree like on food truck issues, but I've never had a disagreement on an ethical issue. Probably one of the biggest differences I've seen, and you would see if you ever came back on council, is a lot of the newer councilors rely and listen to a staff report more than digging into their own homework and doing their own work. I see.
Well, there is a fine line. There's a fine line.
Not that it's bad.
There's a fine line.
But it's different.
Because you can dig into it, but you can already have in your mind a perception of where you think it should go. But at the staff report, they should be doing it with the mindset of, this is what's asked of me. This is the facts, not one way or the other. This is the facts, and so if that's happening, then yeah, you can listen to the reports. But if you have the disagreement, you can challenge that, and that's
Exactly.
And I think sometimes that doesn't happen. But
And
I don't
that's
know.
exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes, and the staff will, if a staff report comes out, it might be based on the opinion of a staff member that, it might be a parking issue where, somebody on parking said, no, this is the way it has to be because, I've been working in parking for a long time and this is the way I see it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but you just can't look at it and say, yeah, okay, that's fine. You might think it is, but if it's not, say something.
Yeah.
And I think some members of council, and like I said, no problem with ethics, no problem with any of that. Some of them are a little bit passive on issues, but that's the difference you would see if you came back. You and I sat on councils, and we had some pretty outspoken individuals. I mean,
But you also had
you and
some,
I were
you
fairly
had some-
noisy.
You had some incredibly intelligent, thoughtful people on the council that made you think, and they may be coming from a whole different view of what you thought, but when you listened to them and you looked at the facts, it made sense. And so sometimes I'd go one way and sometimes I'd go the other way. It really depends.
And that's a good counselor that can do that, when you
Yeah.
can listen to them and they go,
And they were Republicans and Democrats.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Yeah.
didn't see anything anyway. I took the info. I mean, I don't. You just locally,
decipher the
if people are interested in doing politics, the best politics are local.
oh, yeah.
Some will say the State House is a lot of fun. Not for me, it wasn't. And anything above that, it's not. But locally, if you want to get involved, it is the school boards, it's the county commissioners' positions, the city council positions. That's where it is. Now, you guys have a meeting on Monday, right?
You know what? Are we out of time?
Yeah. Have a great. See you in 2 weeks.
Where'd that camera go again? Engineer!